I was raised indoctrinated into the holistic movement. At the same time, I was brainwashed into creationism. I was taught creativity and logic, but I was not taught evidence, which means everything I believed was pretty hollow. If not for the religious fundamentalism, my mom would have probably been a hippie. We had a wheat grinder growing up, and nutrition was highly important, something I have continued in my life as well. We grew up using herbs, some of which were probably good for us and have been shown to have potential real benefits, like turmeric for Alzheimer's, feverfew and cayenne pepper for migraines, and St. John's wort for depression. But some, like echinacea, science has found out is not so good for you over a long-term use, as is overdosing on certain vitamins and minerals. We grew up drinking raw milk, anti-vaxxing, and anti-medicine, unless it was an emergency, and vitamin megadosing. My mom had 2 home births, which I'm a bit on the fence about, but like Europe, I do think there should be more midwives in hospitals with doctors when it comes to deliveries. We also got into magnetic therapy, chiropractic, and acupuncture. You'll find that during this video, I'll be posting links to YouTube user concordance. He has a lot of great videos. In fact, is another series I'll use. What made me a believer in chiropractic and acupuncture was starting out at age 7 or so, I began noticing a lump on my sternum. It was sensitive and irritating to touch. I would hold my shirt so as to keep it off the area, which added to my already severely awkward age. We went to the doctor and took some x-rays. They noticed nothing. We went to the chiropractor. He used the traditional pop and crack methods, and he stretched me. This did nothing, really. We hopped around to different chiropractors, and in the long run, nothing was found. An MRI was called for by one doctor, and they noticed a calcium buildup, but they said there was little to nothing that could be done. Just watch it and make sure it didn't get bigger in case it was cancerous. The best thing that occurred was the Navy, when I started doing a lot of push-ups for the first time in my life, and my rib cage was stretched and reinforced by muscle. I was still pretty sensitive, but I didn't have to hold my shirt off my chest to get relief for one of the first times in my life. After the Navy, I began seeing a chiropractor trained in the use of a tool called an activator. While I now don't recommend seeing a chiropractor except for a very limited number of ailments, if you're going to visit a chiropractor, these are the most safe and least dangerous ones to visit. The pop and crack method has had many side effects and injuries. On top of that, it loosens tendons, which, while it feels good and like you're doing something, it's actually increasing your chances of things falling out of place, making you dependent on the chiropractor. The activator uses your own muscles to cause the adjustment instead of forcing the adjustment. Go to activator.com to find one in your area if you feel the need to go to a chiropractor. There is a very limited range of what chiropractors can actually fix. You would actually get much more out of physical therapy or massage. My chiropractor used a combination of activator chiropractic adjustment and TENS unit acupuncture. My first time in acupuncture was something I hated. I had always been a person who could not relax. I had insomnia all the time. Sitting still was something I couldn't do for very long. TENS unit acupuncture takes needles and connects low-voltage pulsed electrical probes to them. The idea is that they increase your chi flow through the body through specific meridian centers. As you got healthier and healthier, you could have higher voltage without pain. Sitting still is essential to this type of acupuncture because if you move, it hurts. I finally got some violent music and I was able to deal with the idea of having needles sitting in me for a long period of time. After the 3rd visit, I was hooked on it. Being forced to relax was transformative in my views. It was during this time that I began studying Taoism and Buddhism. After 6 months, my sternum was no longer tender. Things could brush it and I would not gasp in oversensitivity. It now had about the sensitivity of the rest of my body. After that, I kept going, and spending lots of my student loan money on it because I wanted to get even healthier. When I graduated and moved, I had problems finding someone with the exact same style as my former chiropractor. At one point, I was dating a masseuse, and I learned quite a bit from her. From what I learned from her, I developed chiropractic walking, which I will be discussing in the next video, and it got me by between visits to my chiropractor in my college town. I still continued the need for a chiropractor because I had pains in my back. I invested in a memory foam mattress, the best $450 I've ever spent, and suddenly I no longer had any back or spinal pain. The old wire spring mattress was the cause of all my problems, and the chiropractor, after fixing a real need, kept me around to fix the symptom. This wasn't a rip-off artist. She truly believed in her craft and that she was doing a good thing. And she did. She fixed my sternum and rib cage. But the other thing she claimed, I have found more and more, is actually more self-diluted snake oil. Chiropractic as a form of physical therapy, when done gently, has been shown to fix some alignment problems. However, they also believe in something called subluxations. Subluxations are when the nerves are supposed to be pinched, producing loss of signals to the organs, and many physical problems are blamed on this, as hormones and neurotransmitters can't give signals to the organs to repair them. Sadly, there is no evidence that this occurs in the average person unless you have massive spinal trauma or bone degeneration because of the way the spine is set up. If you really do have pinched nerves, you really need to see a doctor because the pain will be so intense. If anyone does have scientific evidence of subluxations, please send me the scientific paper. I actually spent a lot of time studying this for a scientific paper that ended up a dud, and I could find no evidence for subluxations. Sad, because it was a major part of my argument in my paper, and as I couldn't find the evidence, the paper is now stuck in limbo. Unless you have some major spinal or bone alignment problem, a chiropractor is not going to help you do any good. Exercise and rest can prevent any need you may have of returning to chiropractors after you've had the major problem fixed. 95% of all back injuries heal themselves anyway with some rest and relaxation. Massage will also do that, and there are mountains of evidence for the benefits of medical massage as opposed to chiropractic, which has very little.